Okay, now I'm not muted. Now we're live. Now we're live for real. Almost. I still have to start the event. Event started. Cool. Think. Think that's the right. Oh, what is my YouTube channel? I should know that, huh? Whatever. People will find it. Yeah, there we go. That worked. Cool. Now, now it's officially live. Live, live, live. Let me make sure everything looks right, sounds right. No dropped frames, not yet anyway. It's probably coming. I apologize in advance. Let me change my lighting color. I'm blue. Oh, I'm very blue. I'm even bluer. Now I'm orange. I think that's good. Whatever color this is. Gotta get these fancy lights when you're streaming and stuff. How do you guys like the website? It's pretty nice, right? Let's bring the chat up. Awesome. Okay, looks good. Very nice. Oh, that's bright, isn't it? Surface of the sun spreadsheet. That's cool. That'll work. How am I sweating? How are my eyes sweating so much? Clean these off real quick. We're a little early. That's okay. Better to be early than not early, I suppose. Sound works, right? I think so. Cool. Guess I'll add everybody. That's gonna annoy people probably. I always feel awkward adding everybody, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Fix the light. Cool. Hey, RM? What? Thanks for saying RM here, like I didn't know. YouTube Premium is in the house. What is with these double names? I am starting at 8. Yeah, you got time. I'm not. I'm just getting loaded up in more ways than one. So you got some time. Very exciting. I know. You have to create a channel to start chatting. What in YouTube? I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like, like there wasn't a chat room otherwise? I thought you just spoke. Double name people are way cooler. Well, that's all we got here. So you guys are the coolest. Interesting. All right. Are you watching me from the toilet? Hey, Flox. Is your name double too? Nope. Nope, it's not. Unfortunate. But you're still cool, Flox. Don't worry. I think RM chose it that way. What is you told me this? What does the RM stand for? It's like retire something, right? I swear you told me this at some point. Dirt Turtle, regional manager. Awesome. I was always proud to tell people when I was coaching baseball and other sports that I was the assistant to the head coach. Being the head coach is just like a thankless job that is, I think, 100 times harder than just being the assistant to the head coach. So that's always been my recommendation to people. Like, I mean, look, if you love it, great, but Muffin Man can't make it because he's watching Game of Thrones. All good, buddy. See you on Sunday. I lost chat though. Oh no. How do I get it back? There it is. Cool. Got chat, and then I lost broadcast. Okay, we're good. Raise money. That's what it was. That's what it was. It was in the vein of retiring, but oh, okay, okay. I remember now. Yeah, so I remember the purpose was retirement, but I very clearly remember what you're talking about now, that raising money part of the equation because of the volatility we have right now. I like how you say that, but like I don't feel like the administration is adding as much volatility as it once was. Like I feel like people don't care so much. Like tariffs don't scare anyone anymore. Like they go, we just gave India a 25% tariff and another 25% if they do something with Russia, some oil related stuff with Russia. And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds about right. Priced in. So, but that's a good thing because we are desensitized, most definitely. I think it's a good thing because it shows that, like RM, you are being really successful in our efforts right now. I know that, uh, despite it not being the highest volatility ever anymore, right? So that's a great sign. In fact, I'm gonna take a look at while we're waiting uh, for 8 o'clock to roll around. Let's see if I can find the weekly gains tracker. There we go. I didn't update this either, so whoa, there it is. Hopefully you didn't all see my real name. Whatever. I think it was off screen anyway. Let's see. I lost my own chat again. Sorry. I keep doing that. I see. This is the problem. I click on one window and I have to now click on like 100 other windows. So this week was 16708. I kept missing stuff. Like I can't believe how many trades I forgot to get into the number. But did you update? You didn't update yet. Come on, RM. This number's like a million, isn't it? I know what you're doing. Oh, this number's a new number actually. Very exciting. Cross that threshold today, I think, or this week, sometime this week, midweek maybe. So very good. What was I gonna check? Oh, I was gonna look at RM's number specifically. Crushing it, dude. I love to see it. Are these for real? I thought your numbers were actually higher than that too in some cases, or maybe I'm just thinking about the overall number you shared the other day. It's going to make sure himself and everyone around him are going to be rich the next 4 weeks. I agree with that. I think that is an interesting point that despite the volatility, by the way, check out the website. It's been updated a little bit. Pretty cool looking, right? Um, I think I think you're right. I think we're going to keep seeing things like that. Um, I think we changed the font here. It is different, isn't it? Huh. I don't know. I'm not sure I like the font. I feel like I liked the old font better. That's okay. But yeah, there'll be plenty of opportunity. We got to be wary of things like Pew. What's going on, Justin? Good to see you. I am surprised though that, like, not to bring up past pains, but Pew wasn't as successful as we expected it to be, despite how involved the president's direct family was in that business. That's pretty wild, right? Isn't it? Like, what went wrong there? And part of me thinks that they basically were like, it's got my name on it. I don't have to do anything else. We'll just get rich. And that is just not what happened at all. In fact, to this day, I don't really understand what happened with Pew. Like the immediate pump and dump, it was so pump and dump. Don't think anything went wrong. Okay. The right people got it. Well, oh, that's fair in that, it went to what, 2250 or something for a minute. I will say though, I learned a lot out of that. Rumors of shorting because of his involvement. Yeah, there's a lot of rich people that don't like them, right? I mean, isn't like Peter Thiel, very anti-Trump as an example. I'm sure there's plenty of rich Democrat billionaires that are like, yeah, we'll just short all of their companies into oblivion. um, but like, there actually have been plays this week that I did, Adobe specifically, that we'll talk about, where I took a learning from Pew of, for like maybe the first time ever, I sold into the run up. And the thought process was there's no way to time the top. I just want to get in while it's going up, or get out. Get out while it's going up. And I ended up getting like an incredible fill on selling those shares of Adobe G, the 2X, which worked out really well. I couldn't believe it. I'm still not entirely sure how it worked, and I'm glad I was paying attention, because if I wasn't, none of that would have materialized. That's exactly why it's not doing well. Oh, sorry, I just read that. I'm reading your same thing twice. The company is just what it is. That's fair. Pew. Yeah, I don't know. The more I look at the company, the less excited I am about it. I'm like, I don't really understand why anyone was excited about this to begin with, outside of people who like boomsticks. They're like, hey, cool, we get another boomstick stock. And it's not the only stock that sells or has to do with guns, right? Yeah, good to see you, RM. Most definitely we'll be waiting for you, but I'm really glad to see you around. Glad that you're doing well there. Good luck with the baby. It's always fun. Thanks for watching me over the influencer girls dancing. Yeah. Not only was it 5 minutes long, um, it was like a complete just upside down V. One that it was a short spike, and I don't think I would ever have expected to hit that type of spike. I wish I screenshot that particular chart. Maybe I can bring it up on the new Google. Have you guys seen this? The new Google. Did I spell that right? I did. The new Google Fi. This dark mode is amazing. I'm not fully used to it yet. Like, I look at this and it doesn't register correctly in my brain like the old screen did. But I'm leaving it because I know I'll get used to it. And there's a lot more information here, which I appreciate. It now has everything listed out on the list of, obviously you can see the stats. But even things like volume and market cap, I like seeing these stats at a glance. This is great. The research tab is like whatever. Oh no, I do like the research tab, because this in the morning is amazing. This was really useful this morning to take a quick look at and get a feel for, okay, what do I want to do first thing? And apparently that was to go to Costco with my wife. She's like, we got to go now. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So when that happened, I just said, let's go. But I had a feel for where I wanted to go with a couple of trades already, and I didn't have to spend as much time as I used to looking across different things. But yeah, here's this. Was this a spike? What was this? Oh, in the morning it spiked too. That's cool. Let's look at the 5-day. So yeah, it shows a spike here at this morning, but it doesn't show the overnight. I wonder, can it show after hours? Can I click it to show after hours? No. No. Ooh, I can change the zoom. Why would you want to do that? How do I... Okay, I don't know why you would ever want to do that on this chart. This is weird. There's some things that I haven't done. All right, we'll just look at TradingView. This is the real answer. And it's 8 o'clock, so we're going to get started here anyway. But yeah, if we look at the... Let's look at the... Maybe the 5-day is what I want to look at. And what does that put on? 5 minutes? That works. Yeah, there we go. So we had this candle here that peaked. It doesn't even show. Oh, wait, that was this morning again. No. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So what's today? Today was the 12th. The 11th at night. Oh, it doesn't show after hours. How do you show after hours on TradingView? I don't actually know that. Does anyone know that who's watching? Hey, good. You made it. Are we able to link any of the additional? Oh, that's a great question. Probably. I will look into that outside of the stream. You got me already immediately peaked. Um, oh, there you go. Thank you. I knew you guys would be useful for something. Okay, this is the candlestick we were looking for. The dynamite here, where we hit 1286, and my fill was here at 1274, which I don't. Did I get that right? Whatever. You guys get the point. So I don't even know how that happened. My fill, by the way, I put in a limit fill for 1250, and Fidelity just came through with that god tier fill of 1274. I'm not sure it'll ever happen again. I kind of wish I didn't waste all of my trading luck on that, but whatever. It's going to happen. Hey, Showcase is in the house. We're talking about ADBG, Adobe G, the 2X. And I'm just telling the boring story of how I got the God tier fill somehow on the way up on this candlestick that I have yet to figure out how exactly that happened with a 1250 limit sell, and we got a 1274 fill. Not complaining, just don't really get it. But we're going to turn off the after hours now and just go back to regular trading, which apparently may. Oh, there it is. I was going to say, I wonder if that disappears. Nope, still there. And then in the morning, it filled. Max you could have got was 1185. So I got the best, basically the best possible fill up here last night. Incredible. I'm gonna like write that down somewhere. I don't know where. Put it on my refrigerator with next to my cups. I'll put that on the fridge next to the cups. That's what I'll do. Okay, so it's 8 o'clock. Let's get into it. Hey, Avilio Delgado, coolest sounding name ever. It was a great week. I think it was a good week for everybody but Showcase. Sorry, but we'll talk about that though in a bit too, because I think that's actually an interesting topic to talk about. Hopefully you get that cathartic release that we're looking for, not reliving the pain and PTSD associated with it. So, yeah, we'll do our best. But overall, this was last week. I think this was 1, 2, like 8, 7, or less than that actually. 1, 2, 6, 7, whatever. This has been flying up, and I think that's true for a lot of people. The net liquid value, like that's a good result. It's funny because it doesn't really come through in the premium, so obviously that means that there is appreciation of shares behind that as well. A big part of that were just the retracement of or recovery of a couple of big positions, which I'm realizing aren't even listed here. What the hell? Why do I not have HIMS here? I have, excuse me, 2,000 shares of HIMS, which is like where all that is coming from. 2,055. Let's close. Good. Okay, so that should show up now, right? Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's the wrong spot, but that's okay. Big position, right? And that was down 10% and then closed flat. If not down more than 10%. Actually, it was down 20%. I'm sorry. Because we were as low as 41 and being back at 55. Obviously, that carries a lot of weight in the overall net liquid value. But also, strategy made a little recovery, not much. Lily and big time Lily X are just going nuts right now. ASTS is in the toilet. Bull has had slight recovery. I added NEM. I added the 2X coin, which is flat. GME made a recovery. Archer made a recovery, slight, and not nearly as much as I need. Google is a small position, but still continues to grow, and I still don't have the shares. And then this caramel bullshit down here that I eventually am going to get out of. Sitting kind of heavy on cash, not quite 25%. This isn't fully correct though, because this is missing 100K of CoreWeave, 105K of CoreWeave. So it's actually like 355. So okay, so definitely if I just change this to yeah, almost 30% cash. And maybe there was something else assigned. I think no, I think that was it. So yeah, definitely a good cash position going into next week, which I like. I think that'll be a good spot to be in. Uh, we're not gonna call you a failure. Come on, man. And then we've got uh, three active cash secured puts going into next week. These all expire next week, I believe. I had more. I had Bull covered. I uncovered Bull. I had GME covered. Wait, no, those are CCs. Never mind. I didn't have any other. No, I didn't have any other CSPs. Not currently. And overall, last 8 week average continues to be pretty nutso, very much driven by Reddit and that stock sale at like back at 200, which now in hindsight, it's kind of like, oh man, I wish I didn't sell, but whatever. We kept selling options all the way up. So probably missed out a little bit on profit there by doing that, but that's part of the game here. And that's not entirely true because I have 300 shares that are now covered that are at a 265 strike for next week, and they're fine. They're in good shape. I'll keep rolling those out forever. They're taxable. I don't want to take that 50K taxable hit on freaking 10K initial investment of Reddit. Yeah, so that hits everything here. The thermometer still looks ridiculous. I posted on After Hour with a cool explosion emoji covering the thermometer. So maybe somebody will appreciate that. Probably not. Highly unlikely that anyone cares. Okay, let's get into trades. I'm already on some sort of tangents. So we've got the caramel play, which not a whole lot to talk about. I had $10 calls at, I think they were for next week originally, and I just bought it back. I was like, whatever. It's not worth holding on to these forever. And they can only drop by 10 cents per contract or per share. So like the total value left to go after wasn't really worth it, since 5 cents would be the only better price I would realistically be able to sell it at or buy it back at. So I closed that one out, and then I ended up doing a 750C instead, which is this one here. So that probably won't hit. This stock seems like hot garbage. It was, I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't have done the trade at all, to be honest, but we all make bad choices on occasion. At least I do on a regular basis. So we'll just skip that and go right to GME, which was kind of an interesting one. I had these shares covered, and they were covered at 25. So they actually wouldn't have been assigned, but I had a good feeling about earnings this week, this season for GME. They were beaten down so hard, and it was the flattest trading I have seen in a long time for really any stock over this entire period. But GME especially, like if I go to the daily highlights it much more so than the intraday. Whoa. Right, like that's right here. And the channel is very tight. 22 to 24. For GME, that's like zero volatility for the entirety of that earnings cycle. What does it even mean? I don't know. But nothing bad happened. They bought Bitcoin up here, and this is not really reflective of Bitcoin at all, right? Bitcoin did not move like this, so this didn't get influenced exclusively by that. And then they had earnings, and everyone's like, oh, they somehow continue to make more and more money. I personally think that's beyond just like the new Switch 2 and all that. I think they're doing well on their reselling of games. Like that has been a wildly untapped market where now they're doing retro games, which is something that's close to my heart. I collect retro video games, and every once in a while I'll walk into GameStop and look to see what they have. Their prices are better than what you can buy on eBay or Amazon. Like not even close. Probably on average 20% less than what you would buy at an Amazon. And you get the added feeling of the treasure hunt, right? You don't know what you're going to find. You might not find any old-ass Nintendo games, but you might. And when you do, it might be Mega Man 5. I don't know. I still need that one. I do have one, two, three, four, and six, but I would buy it if it was reasonably priced at GameStop. That would be a great purchase. So I think they've got that going for them, and it's underrated. Now, I didn't listen to the earnings. They probably didn't talk about that at all, and they probably don't attribute any of their success to that. But there's an entire subgenre of video game resellers that they can maybe start breaking into and tapping into. Money laundering? No, I don't think that's what they're doing. Is it enough? No, I don't think it's enough. I think it's a market, right? It's another, maybe it's not even not a vertical, I guess, but another channel that they can go after. So it in my mind, they're proving that they can make profitable brick and mortar stores, which is really like the crux of the argument of shorting them in the first place. I think we're past that, right? Now I think it's like, okay, well, what else can they grow into? And I think there's a lot of things that they could be doing. I'm not going to speculate because I probably could just listen to their earnings call and be like, yeah, they said they're going to do this, right? And because I don't know that, I'm not going to speculate that. But yeah, I'm excited to watch them. I don't plan on staying in them, to be honest. I'm hoping to sell I have at the money covered calls right now for next week, and they are at 25. But it had almost a 3% return, right? So if it goes at 25, which is above my cost basis by a reasonable amount, the original cost basis is 25, but it's down at like 18 or something after just repeatedly selling CCs on them over and over and over. So this is a good sale, even though it's only, so the position's just not that big. It's only a 25K position. And this is something that, reflecting on today a bit, while I was looking at way too many trades in the trade window, I have too many trades and my position sizing has sucked. Well, that's not entirely true. It's been subpar from the standpoint of I'm requiring too many trades to hit my goals. But at the same point, I'm leaving myself a nice cushion to adjust. But then I'm not adjusting. So then I look at other plays and it's not optimized. That's what I want to get to, is I want to get it optimized. So we're not there yet. $24.99 right now. Ooh, we're on the edge. I like it. I love living on the edge. Daddy Cohen is really good. What did Chewy do? Did anyone look at Chewy? Chewy is also, okay, never mind. They've had some really, this doesn't this remind you of something, Showcase? This reminds me of Roblox, like that tear that Roblox was on for Chewy. They went as high as 50, almost, not quite 50. All right, 49, whatever. That's pretty wild, right? I'd say that's pretty good. Yeah, so they had earnings back to back with GameStop. It was GameStop on what, was it Tuesday night? And then Chewy was Wednesday morning. I wonder did Cohen go to both? I guess so, right? No, didn't he sell his Chewy stake? I'm sure he's still invested in it, but I thought he got out of it. He's being punished for a surprise negative 0.187% EPS. Come on, dude. That's a rounding error. Minus 0.003. Give me a break. Was it just because they don't go that far out on the decimal? Could be. Rounding error, for sure. Well, here's the thing. Chewy typically has shit premiums. I've looked at selling options on them multiple times. I never like the premiums. I wonder if this is a leap candidate, and I think maybe we look at this on Monday and see if it's got some legs potentially. Now, it might have a little bit further to drop. It doesn't look like there's no pre or post here that I see. But it's been a strong business. And the macro is higher highs, higher lows. That was a pretty nice channel for a while. Okay, maybe we match the low here. Higher high, higher low again, and then we didn't make it all the way back. And I wonder, I bet a lot of people were betting on like a big spike up here. There's probably a mass amount of calls up to here to the 618 fib. And they dropped. Interesting. Below the 200 moving average, by the way. Like they're below everything. So we're going to have a distinct crossover immediately, as you can see already on a couple of these. But yeah, I wonder, you know what I'm going to do early on here? Hell yeah, we're going to do this. Boom, calling it now. We're going to come back to this in a month and be like, dude, that cup, how is it so good? It was amazing. How far out did I go, though? Maybe I went too far. Before the next earnings. All right, that's fine. That's enough time for the cup to develop, don't you think? First cup of the night. I need a bell for every time we have a cup. They do. They are rich. They are rich. Got subscribe and same day and save delivery today for Chewy. Dude, Chewy has got that business just cornered. Like, I don't think anyone uses Petco and any of that type of stuff anymore. Okay, maybe I went too low. I don't think we're going to 1250. maybe we're going to like, what was this? I don't think we're even going that far. Let's adjust our expectations here a little bit and maybe shorten the cup up. It's probably not as severe as, there we go. That's a nice cup. That's a decent drop of, 30, 25%, 30%, whatever it is. Leap. Yeah, dude, that's what I'm talking about. Because the premiums are garbage, Leaps, man, that is where it's at. This is off. There we go. So that's what I want to look at on Monday. Maybe there's some good Leap opportunities with Chewy. Complete tangent. I don't even own Chewy, but we're going to add this to the list because I may own Chewy in the future. Here we go. We're in. All the way up. There we go. I don't understand how AA does not have his in alphabetical order. I guess you could do it. Ooh, that's kind of nice too. Maybe I should do that. Nah, I'm gonna leave it in alphabetical order for now. Okay. Back to what we were talking about, which is GameStop. Anyway, bought it back, uncovered it, and recovered it. So didn't make a ton off that. I mean, $330, it was fine. It was like 30%. Obviously, it's out of 1,000. It's 30% in the profit, and then resold it for next week, somewhere over here. There it is. So, and again, 3% for next week. I think that was a worthwhile play, and I was a little bit playing off of the immediate. There wasn't really IV crush after earnings so much as I think if you looked at like the bands, things if anything got even wider for a minute because it was so narrow for so long. So happy to sell it. I'm not going to increase the position size there anymore. And yeah, if the shares get called away, all good. Drink every cup. Oh, that is a good drinking game. Good call. Is this a Lilly situation for a game? Oh, for Chewy? I would need to do some digging in, to be honest. I think that it could be. It very well could be. But the drop is not that severe. So going from where we closed at 42 to whatever, call it 35, 7 in 42. I guess it's a sizable drop. What's 7 divided by 42? 16%-ish, right? Whatever that is. Well, that's pretty big. And maybe that is similar to Lilly. Lilly's drop was from 755 to all the way down to 625. So divided by 755. Yeah, okay. That's actually closer than I thought. Yeah, the Lilly numbers are so big that it's just like, oh, this is gonna be, a bigger number. Well, it is technically, but not that much bigger. It could be. But back to what I was about to say, we need to look into that a little bit further before we commit. Because Lilly was clear. Maybe it's a small cup. I don't know. Lilly was clear in that we didn't know why it dropped when their news was good. And like when I go back to Lilly here, here's what I like to show. This line was a target that I repeatedly that I would call like the average, just kind of like eyeballing in it, the average of where we've been over the last however many years that is. And like so much time was spent above that that it seemed just illogical to me that this drop happened based on one individual pill, uh, orglipron, whatever it's called, olagriffin, and I don't. That's not what it's really called. It dropped by 17% on the earnings day, but earnings beat significantly. I would say a 12% surprise is big, and a 5% surprise on revenue when you're talking about those numbers is also pretty big. I mean, they almost surprise themselves by $1 billion, right? That's a lot of money. Absolute value or percentage, both big. And that was such a clear drop of overreaction. And look what I know we're not talking. Well, we might as well talk about Lilly too. We don't even have a live. We have a live play, but we don't have anything expiring this week, so we wouldn't necessarily need to talk about it otherwise. But like you can see very clearly, I drew this a week ago. This line, and I just connected like the two lowest points and made a 2 point trend line. It's generally held to that, right? And you can see like there's no good reason why it wouldn't, because the news was stupid. The news was instead of a 30% reduction of weight after taking a pill for a year, people saw like 9 or 11% or 12%, something like that, right? Well, guess what? They didn't need to inject themselves to lose weight, and they still lost weight. So the people who don't want to take these shots, which by the way are also under pressure as being grouped together with diabetes medicine, and now the diabetes medicine components are being put on the World Health Organization's accessible medicine list. The pill won't. It is for obesity. Like, it's all good news. And in fact, I feel so strongly about this. Not financial advice. Do your own due diligence. Don't sue me. I'm just telling you what I'm looking at because I like the stock. I think we're going to go back here. I think we're going to go back there. Yeah, 12% is amazing. So if we're back here at like 880, okay, maybe eight. Let's call it 850 between friends. Well, 625 to 850 is a big increase. Apparently over 200 points, 225 even. That's what, a third? 33% gain in Lilly shares. But it gets better because you can buy Lilly X, which is a 2X. And if you draw the same lines, my goal was to get to 15, and that would be back to like 775 for the stock. And we're very close. We hit 14 this week a couple of times. And in fact, we rejected off the top fib here, which is more clear when looking at the Lilly stock. But we have a lot of potential to get back to 20. I'm not sure what the 850 exactly equates to. I guess I could look at like, hey, when did we hit 20? And it was on Tuesday, March 18th. So if I go back here to Tuesday, March 18th, we were at 830. So yeah, if 850 is hit, we break $20 on Lilly X. That is 100% gain. I'm at 40 right now on the position. I got in at 10 exactly, 10 even, which was brilliant because if only for the fact that like all of the numbers are nice and clean to look at. So like the math is super easy. I very much appreciate that. I kind of wish I did a double position size on the Lilly X in hindsight. That, short-sighted of me to not go full conviction on this one. This is an example of where I probably should have gone a little bit higher on my clear conviction here. But anyway, all that to say, I think it's got longer to run up here, potentially as high as this $20 mark, if not here, like the next earnings cycle, which I'm on the wrong one. The next earnings cycle out here, like that is A legitimate possibility. I don't think this trend is going to continue once we get past this range over here. So here's what I was talking about, the fibs. We double tested off this bottom fib, or you could call it the 100-day moving SMA. One of these, both of these, we tested off them. Close enough. And like the trend is staying intact. So I think we're going to break through it next week. Will we follow this trend beyond this arbitrary line that I made? That doesn't actually mean anything, by the way. Like literally eyeballed the blue line, and the yellow line is just 2 points touching each other. But will we stay on that trend for long after that? I don't know. I'm not sure it's going to be a Roblox march from 80 to 120, but it could be. It could be all the way up to say 800 potentially. That is not out of the realm of possibility. In fact, prior to this drop, I was routinely swing trading this at 720. Anytime it hits 720, and anyone who's been on After Hour knows that I've been posting this since here. Anytime it hits 720, I buy it. Then you wait a month and you sell it, and then you don't touch it. You wait till it hits 720, and then you wait a month. Like this was incredibly repetitious. So I don't see any reason why we don't do that again. Will we go as high as these highs at 950? Average Advisor said he saw 1,000 in the future, which is possible. All-time highs was 972. I do think it was a little overvalued here, personally. But at the same time, I would have thought we'd be there by now. So, yeah, it's definitely a potential. Anyway, long story short, I'm holding on to Lily X. I am waiting for my shares to be called away from Lily next week, which are $55 in the money because they were 700 Cs, which was good. I was happy with that play. That's the hedge play. And then the Lily X was the uncapped potential play. But yeah, it was a good one. You paper-handed? Oh, come on, Flox. No. I think I really think it has room to run. That's where my head's at on it. I wonder what the premiums are like on Lily X. Maybe Lily X leaps make more sense. Yeah, no worries, Showcase. You'll catch the next one. It'll drop again at some point. They have the R1 that helps with muscle. Huh. All right, Aggleton's is with me as well. 900. I like it. All right, well, 900, by the way, is... Oh, I messed up my line. I don't want to do that. I thought I could keep the angle holding shift. No. Well, let's just draw a straight line at 900. What do we got? Is that 900? It's probably close. Yeah, it's close enough. 900. Okay, perfect. So that's a distinct possibility, right? We know we've been there before. Will we get... That would be before earnings, by the way, which is kind of wild, right? Because if we just eyeball it, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure we'll get there before earnings, but I do think earnings could be the explosive get us there situation like we've seen here, right? We've seen a couple of earnings where, boom, big papa. Okay, well, I am completely off my list. We haven't even gotten past the second trade. This is amazing. It's going to be a long night. Retetratride, that sounds right. No, there's one that starts with an O, though. I'm pretty sure. Like, orglipron. Orglipron? Maybe that was it. But yeah, the retretratide is another one. Well, the retretratide is... You can hear the try in there. It's like a 3X or a three-way acting weight loss magic drug that even because this one attacks visceral fat. This is the only one that works on visceral fat, and it that targets visceral fat. This is what I got from that guy Mike. What the heck is that guy? The meathead. No offense to bodybuilders, not that there are any in chat. Ciao, guys. The guy that Dr. Mike, Justin, are you the one who shared this one? Israel. One of you shared this one. Was it Justin? Yeah. He thank you. I appreciate you, Justin. That was a good share. He's even selling it, which is questionable if it's potentially a bought unshared sponsorship. It's possible. I don't get the opinion or get the vibe that that's the case, but there were definitely some comments of like, "I can't believe you sell out," you know. Um, it's possible, but anyway, I think that there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, and the healthcare industry is booming on GLP-1, but I think we're just in breakthrough territory for a while. Like Hims is doing test stuff. Lilly's got this tetratride, whatever magic happening. There's the oral weight loss drug. Um, and there, that one is essentially being compared to like anti-aging. And as you fix these things, it's time to get out of UNH, right? Like there's probably, isn't obesity the biggest contributor to every single health condition? So if you fix that problem, you're good. And I was talking about this with my wife because I know somebody who went on it and they were telling me about it. And they're like, yeah, it's $500 a month and I've lost 20 or 30 pounds. And I'm like, oh, but like, are you, because you're human, do you need it forever? And he's like, yeah, pretty much. Like, I'll get off it and then I'll probably gain weight and then I'll go back on it forever. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. I wasn't judging or anything. I get it. Um, but if you keep that in mind, like, doesn't your market really start to expand when people who are after vanity and by like, you know, I used to run factories and the guys that took a lot of overtime or were forced overtime, really working 60-hour weeks, you know, after a year of that, they're all driving $50,000 pickup trucks. And like, that's cool. I'm sorry you're now locked into that lifestyle for the rest of your life with a $900 truck payment or whatever it was. But what if you only had to pay $500 for, instead of a fancy truck, you were just skinny and everybody said you were beautiful, right? Like, it's morality issues aside, right? And all that. I'm not trying to get into that. That seems like a payoff or a payback, and probably going to decrease over time. That, especially as it decreases over time, that the entire population would eventually likely want to participate in. And like rippling effects, by the way, if that were to happen, to time to short food companies, General Mills, like people who just make crap food that we're going to buy less of because we're not going to waste it all and throw it all out because we don't eat as much anymore. Like there's some crazy, maybe I'm in conspiracy theory land, but I'm not sure I am. Maybe that's 5-10 years out, but just think about it. I mean, I don't think I need to take it personally, but I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe I should try it. Especially if it ends up being, as Mike Israetel was saying, the only drug that doesn't actually have side effects. That was something that the commenters were getting really fired up about. They're like, how can you, every drug has a side effect. It probably does. We're probably all going to die. But maybe we don't die to 120 because we're all skinny. I don't know. Right? Like this, side effects. All right. Lord Mar, good to see you. I got onto a tangent there. Pretty privilege. Dude, my puppy has pretty privilege. Did you see my puppy last time? My God. She craps on the floor. We're like, oh, what's wrong with you? But you're so cute. Well, it's okay. We'll clean it up. Don't do it again. Then she does it again, and we do it's the same thing over and over. Damn puppy, pretty privilege. You'd probably get a promote. You're probably right. I think obese people get treated worse everywhere. That is a personal opinion that is, again, I don't even think a spicy take. Like, just probably generally accurate. General Mills food is so ass. Yeah, dude, all they make is cereal, right? Side effects is you don't learn anything. Huh? Oh, behaviorally, right? Yeah, but like, does that matter? It's the same side effect with AI. And look, the human race is clearly heading to ultimate self-destruction. But maybe we can make money along the way. It's terrible. Oh, Flox, did you see the puppy? Were you on last week? It was adorable. Arguable if it's better. It is dystopian. We are on both the best and worst timeline because the things that we want are terrible for us, and laziness is terrible for us. Not putting effort in is like not good for the human. Okay, we're getting way off stock talk. We haven't even gotten past the second trade. Let's talk Reddit. My favorite. Let's talk my baby while you guys continue to just. Now I'm going to read what you say, then and get dragged right back into this, aren't I? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. You saw the pics? Good. I'm glad. She's adorable. So Reddit trades, we had a bunch, and we have some going into next week with 250 CSPs. Before I sold an aggressive in the money CSP, we were at $3,600 in premiums. Pretty good, because these weren't even big commitments. 300, 400, 200 shares. And then I went pretty heavy at, this was arguably a FOMO sell, which I recognized. I like thought about that. I'm like, okay, am I chasing? And the answer was yes, for sure. But the more I looked at the chart, the more I was like, I want to be back in the stock, and I'm not immediately concerned about a huge retracement to like 200. Could it happen? Yeah. We saw it before go all the way to 80 from 220, like that 230. That would be bad, but could happen. But I think Reddit has really begun to prove itself to the point where my charting, by the way, is godly on this. I cannot believe this continues to work. TA is fake, first off, right? Like, we're just making up charts, aren't we? Pretty sure, like, you guys know I'm just drawing with crayons. But yet they look right and they look good. So I keep doing it. But this did seem clearly like a cup and handle to me. The 1 month, oh, that's too, whatever. The 1 month chart is where I drew this. Because the handle was a lot clearer in the bounds of it versus the size of the cup. And it happened again. So like we had what did I just do? We had the double God arrow, which this was basically, I made a mistake on the first one. I was too soon. So I drew a second one before the earnings pop off. That one was obviously accurate because it was earnings. And again, I was very sure we were going to launch into outer space. Sold at 200, got back in, wheeled it all the way through here basically. And it's been great to wheel. And then the cup and handle was drawn again. And I covered. Did I cover? No, I sold. I sold this at what did I sell this at? I don't know. Somewhere up here. I think I sold it at 250. No, that was a few days ago. No, I did. I sold it. Yeah, I sold it at like right around here, 245 or something. And that was great. And then the cup worked again and the handle worked again. And now we're in this new range that I'm going to go back to the daily because I'd rather look at the fibs on the daily. Whoa. And that kind of tells a story of what just happened much more clearly. I drew this. I'm going to delete this because this was like just doodles, as they all are. But this was a copied slope of this one right here. This growth track over here, this channel. And I just copied it over here. It's like maybe we're going to find ourselves doing that here. I don't actually think that's the case. I'm going to keep that arrow in this line because that was my target of 260. So we hit that. We tested off this 0.5 fib twice. And, or 3 times even. It was very close on that one. So we rejected it. And now we're in this fib region here that, we could just go sideways. Maybe this ends up being a bull flag. I don't know. We'll see. But this is all I've got right now. I'm of the opinion that 265 is kind of a hard... you could say 262, 90, 87, whatever that number is. Whatever. But in my head, it's 265 because it's the next round number. which is why I rolled out I rolled out my 255 that would have expired this week to 265 next week. And I don't want to say I think that'll be safe, but there's a good chance we go sideways here for a little bit longer. So my cost basis on the 265 put is 259 something or other. So like whatever, we're close enough. You got to keep in mind we're getting to a pretty high price of 259 minus 254 is, I don't know why I typed that out, is 5 out of 259 is we're not even down 2%, right? So I feel totally fine on this position right now, and also sold for next week 250 CSPs because the price was just too good. They were juicy. I think I sold those for like 675 or something. What was it? That's down here. 470. No, 675 was the ones that just got assigned. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Or was it this one? Okay, I'm losing my mind. I guess it was the 550. I don't know where 675. Maybe I tried to sell those originally at 675 and then I gave up and just sold them at 550. But whatever the case, I'm fine with this result going into next week. I will likely cover them at like 265, maybe 270. I don't know. I might give those a couple of days to breathe and see where we head directionally. But definitely nothing wrong with covering them at the money. The premiums are insane. They're insane. Like this 550 was 2 days. I sold these on the 11th. And that was that is not normal for what type of, you can't usually get almost 2% premium 2 days from expiration. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. It was a good payoff, and I'm going to hold the shares anyway. So, I still ultimately think Reddit is going to be a $500 stock. What is the current market cap actually? Now that we're as high as we are, we're halfway there. So we're just about 50 billion. We probably hit 50 billion, right? If we look at whatever 2% is on 47.5. And we're pretty close to it anyway. And the price target I have is 500. It sounded ridiculous when I said it way back here. Way back here. I was like, dude, it's a $500 stock. I don't know what drugs you're all on that you don't see this. And like here, I was like, see, I told you. And then I was like, oh, okay, humble pie. But anyway, we're back to, I think, a continuation of the range that we should be. To this day, I don't know what could have caused this drop. Now, you would say the tariffs and stuff, right? But this was before the April mega drop. We immediately were dropping back to this channel, which is where I thought we would hang out. So the tariff dropped fine. That exacerbated the issue, clearly. But then it was like, well, we might as well fill the gap while we're down here. That's what this drawing is. And we did. Like, to a T, we filled that gap. Insane. This is when you go like, oh, okay, maybe charting is real. Because some of this stuff, like, should never connect in the way that it does. When you look at this, it really does tell a story of like, oh, okay, cup and handle, that was real. Gap fill, that was real. Channels, these were real. Another cup and handle, that was real so far. And fib projection, like all of that stuff happened on this chart. Now, from here, I don't know where we go next. I'm still thinking we squiggle around here for a few days. But I generally am bullish. I think the next stop is not this fib. I think it's actually, maybe it's 275. That's a pretty round number. But I think it's 300. I think realistically, and I know the 618 fib is a big one, whatever. But I think 300 is going to be that psychological number that it starts trekking to. Please make more arrows. Thought about the 250 CSP, 25% of the, yeah, you got to be careful, man. Well, okay. 25% is the absolute max, but usually I wouldn't do that on a single trade. You do still have RDTL, but RDTL is getting expensive too. I mean, it's in the 70s, if not 80s, right? What are we at? 73? Okay, we never hit. Did we hit 80? We hit 80. Holy cow. Yeah, so you could do RDTL if you want to play the leverage version, but I mean, I am a fan of holding leverage. I generally don't like selling calls on it. I do sometimes, I will say that, but I don't always like holding them. Iluvatar, are you on? Or are you just chatting in Discord? I saw you in Discord. He's posting some stuff on Coin. Very bullish. That's good because I just bought a bunch of Coin L, Con L. Charting is real because enough people believe it. I agree with that, actually. I very much agree with that. Wish you massively loaded at 80. Well, I did. I had 2,200 shares, but I kept peeling them off. And, you know, this is one of those things where it's like, is it better to... We had this conversation with Iluvatar, actually, who's not, I don't think, on the call right now. But he was on a call earlier that we did with the Discord on Wednesday, right? Whatever day that was. Maybe it was Tuesday. And we got into the conversation of like, well, why don't you just buy and hold everything? And the answer is because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, yeah, this worked out great. And that's true for a lot of stocks. But then there's a lot of stocks where it does nothing. Right now, we're very bullish across like everything. So it's hard to mess up and not make money. But how about Master? Or Strategy, I should call it. Right? Like, we're trending down. I think we're cupping, to be honest. I could probably draw a cup on this too. And I probably will later. But like, you know, this is where you go, okay, Wheeling is generating some income or some downside protection. Tesla was that way for a long time in these, my cup. I forgot I drew a giant ass cup on Tesla. I never did the arrow though. And apparently I was just way off on the shape of things. I'm not sure it was actually a cup and handle, but you know, as we went through this whole period of look, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and now it's breaking out. Like, yeah, but guess what? This whole way made many thousands of dollars, many percentages that if you didn't and you just held that whole time, it did nothing. You don't know. And the whole point is we want to guarantee and choose our income, choose our percent gains versus the hope and a prayer, which is what buy and hold is. You can say you have 100% conviction, and many people have said that about Tesla, but depending on your time horizon, it may not matter. I'm sure everybody's got some stocks like I do that you jump out of. You're like, I'm never touching it again. AMD, I'm never touching it. I don't even want to look at it, but I'm gonna do it, right? Like I just I drew a cup on this one too. Hey, that I didn't know where the bottom line went, but that was actually pretty good apparently. All right, maybe I should buy some AMD. I had it over here and sold it over here because I was just like, F this stock. Advanced Money Destroyer. I hate you. Here we are though, looking at it and going like, oh, that is a cup and handle for sure. Maybe we do that. Maybe it's a little bit more aggressive of a cup and handle here. And that's legit. Will it pop off before earnings though? Or will it be the extended handle into earnings? I don't know. There's a freaking cup and handle on every chart, dude. So anyway, I think that I treat selling options as my strategy. There are times where I cap an upside. CoreWeave looked that way, and it ended up being that way, right? Well, let's talk CoreWeave next, because I'm done with... I love Reddit. You guys know I love Reddit. Okay, CoreWeave. Well, I hate that this channel works so well, Showcase, by the way. Although it ended up not being as bad as I thought it might be today when we were dropping. So, CoreWeave, before we look at the chart, let's just go through what happened. This one. That's next on the list anyway. Okay, so at 100 and something, I think actually it was... I think I sold the 105s when we were at like 102. And maybe it was like Monday or Tuesday. And the play was okay. It was 2.5% on the money. That my cost basis was $97.50. And I said, okay, 2.5% seems pretty good. Slightly 258 or whatever it was. And out of the money, if I sell the shares at 105, well, guess what? That's $750 each, or on 1,000 shares, $7,500 plus $2,500 is a 10K play. Now, what happened was, and this is a great example of, are you better off not watching, right, and not looking at these things and just letting everything go to expiration, which is what Muffin Man does right now, or do you dick around with it and potentially mess up? Now, I feel good about the result. I'm going to start there. And I should say that I sold this and then bought it back immediately for 50% in 2 hours, right? And then I resold it that same day later for just a little bit more. So the net was a 30% gain. So imagine if I had just sold this for 280 originally. That's what I gained by doing this. Because you can see the net here, right? The buy and sell of 120 to 150. But then I ended up buying it back at a loss today. The reason I did that was today I was watching the chart. And if we go to the daily, the 1 day, boom, yikes. Okay, maybe that's too much. Let's go to 3 minutes. One minute is too crazy. This drop here, when we were at about 105, 106, and then we just drop. I bought back here for, let's just call it break even. It was a 9 cent net cost per contract or per share, so like $90, which on 100K is immaterial. And then we dropped as low as 104. So the thing with CoreWeave is we have a joke on the Discord of like, it's either up 8% or down 8%. And at the time it was down, I think 7%. So I was like, well, shit, we're going to finish. I'm going to be out of the money. And I'm like, I wanted to sell the shares. That was my goal. And it was going to happen at first. And I remember looking at it throughout the day. We're at 114. I'm like, we should be safe. Then it dropped to 111. I'm like, it's still got a lot of time in the day, but maybe we'll break this trend. And then it was just that slippery slope, right? Now, we did recover, and I would have been assigned at 105. Instead, I sold at 105.53, which means that net out of everything, I basically ended up, well, we just look at the math here real quick. I basically lost like, what, $1,200 or something? Let's see. Potential. Not even. It was $800. Okay. So at the end of the trade, the sets of trades here, it was fine. It was one of those trades where had it kept going down, I would have been very happy that I sold it at 105.530. That was great. For a cost of 9 cents, that was fine. Now, what would have been amazing is if like my internet went out right after the sell order went in for the buying to close it for 9 cents, and then I had to sell it at 111 or 112. That would have been good. So that was a weird trade, but generally happy with how it ended up. Now, at the end of it, you got to ask yourself, was it worth it? Essentially, I was in a rush to sell the shares for no real reason in hindsight, but I really wanted to get the 10K out of the shares this week. And I thought that I did think the trend would continue down looking at the chart. I was like, okay, let me look back at the all chart actually, do the daily. And like we are definitely in this downward channel, right? This is clear. This is a real thing. So will we continue or not? I don't know. This doesn't mean this is what's going to happen forever, obviously. But it could. And if it does, and if it did, because we did test off that line, that top line, I would have been happy with the result in that case too. So I can't be upset about the result. I'm happy about what I did, but I'm not sure I would do it again in the future. Maybe next time I just let it go to expiration, because there wasn't any real news that I saw. And in fact, Showcase is like, oh, look, they're going to invest in more stuff. You need to buy shares. I'm like, damn it, CoreWeave, why did you tell me with 6 minutes left in the day? So a little bit of a ramble, but at the end of this, I'm good with the trade. Walked away with a 10% result. Call that a win. Maybe it was, yeah, it was 10% on 97 or slightly under 10%. So yeah, I would do it again. Well, maybe not. I think I just talked about how I wouldn't do it again. I'm happy with the result. I don't really care that it ended up in the way that it did. But it would have been really nice. Oh, there's a bug in here. I want to kill it, but you guys are gonna hear me clap my hands really loud. I need to mute the mic. But he flew away, so we're okay. Okay, so showcase. Can we look at NBIS now? Are you okay with that? You sold at 104.66. Yeah, I mean, look, like it's hard to be upset about making a bunch of money, right? Does it look bullish on the EMAs? I don't know. I think the EMAs are all tangled up. This is one of those, like, if you're reading the Tao of Trading, they're not stacked nicely. They're not the rainbow color should be in the style of the rainbow, and they're not. Now, this could signal reversal, right? As they would say in the Tao, Simon would say, I suppose. But we don't know because look at how it bounces, right? Like it's doing this bounce here that it's just as likely that we're dropping to 90. I'm not so sure we'll drop to 70, but we could drop back down to the 80s and 90 range real easily. So I'm going to hold out a little bit and see. Maybe I'll sell a couple CSPs and just average into whatever happens. But yeah. Okay. I have permission. Massive whale buy. Yeah, so whale buying does not necessarily mean anything either. That's the other thing. This is the put bounce. Is that a thing? I didn't finish reading the chapters yet. Hey, Illyri's, good to see you. The rainbow not being stacked means that if we drop below 100, we just keep dropping. That's right. That's right. And we are below. Are we below 100? So the blue is 100. What is this? So we got red, orange, green, and blue, purple, yellow, something too. That's the color that we know that make up the rainbow. My daughter sings that song. I'm singing it all wrong. This is where you would buy puts. Yeah, I don't know, man. That is, I know it's the. Is this the bounce? I gotta finish I'll finish the book this week. I swear. I made good progress this week, and I like it actually. It's a real easy read. I don't know what took me so long to get as far as I have gotten. But I'm clear on the trends, and it does look like it's a bad setup. Yeah. All right. Let's click NBIS. Do I have that on here? No, I got to type it in. NBIS. Here's a good one. NBIS was a wild ride. I think this may be the only time that I've ever seen or ever I would bet may ever see showcase FOMO. So it's the only dig I'm going to make the entire time. It's not really a dig, honestly. But for sure, this felt like, oh no, to me, not even owning the stock. I was like, well, shit. I should buy some now, right? And I have that as an automatic trigger in my brain. Whereas if I think that, I go, okay, listen, asshole, you don't know anything. Don't touch it. So I don't touch it. That's especially when it's an all-time high too, right? Like this is all-time high. Yeah, I think. I guess I could click all. Yeah. Ooh, look at that chart. Interesting. I've actually never looked at the macro. Holy cow! Wow, that's an incredible run. Maybe we have a mega macro bull flag here. That'd be pretty wild. We'll go back to the 1 year though, and I did some charting on this. There was an arguable cup and handle here that I swear I had at one point, maybe not. And then two big breakouts. One on the earnings. And then one on the Microsoft announcement. So The question is, when something like this happens, what do we think is in hindsight, obviously, the best course of action? And I made a video or something on this topic, or maybe it was a post. I don't remember. Whatever. I say a lot of stuff if you can't tell. So I can't always tell where it came from. But emotion moves faster than information. And because stock price is an emotional based primarily measure of sentiment, whenever a spike happens, have you ever noticed that it's literally always a spike? And like it's very rare that this happens, right? Like a green candle like looks like a lollipop, like the sugar daddy lollipop, where the top of the price has no wick. Like that doesn't happen a whole lot. Usually it goes up and there's on the daily some sort of retracement. I bet on the weekly it's even like more dramatic, where it's probably damn near impossible to find. Like that's pretty close, but to find a candlestick without a wick on top, less the case going down, which makes sense to me, by the way, because usually when things drop, it's a faster drop than it is going up. Elevator down, stairs up, right? So that to me is an indicator of emotion, and then like everybody finds equilibrium of some sort. So I know that some people were of the opinion that it was better to buy back to not lose the shares. But what would have happened with the opposite approach? I actually don't know. I haven't really looked at it. And Showcase, do you know what price you bought back at? It wasn't at the max, was it? Yeah, I know you'll be fine. But I am curious, what was the buyback price? I'm reading some stuff too, by the way. Credit spreads, credit spreads worked. Oh, that's cool. Uh, I don't know. He didn't do 110. There's no way he did 110. Or are you talking? You're probably talking about something else. Okay, well, let's pretend you bought somewhere here. Um, 105? No, no way. Was it that high? Oh shit. Okay, so I don't want to draw that line, dude. Oh, so it was the fib. Interesting. It tested the fib. It doesn't draw the line there. I wonder. Do I need to look at? Oh, because that was after hour. Let's do. Let's do the. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. No, I don't know what that did. Oh no. Can I not do after hour on this chart? Maybe I need to look at like the 1 month. Yeah. Okay. So extended hours. Okay. Oh wow. Wow. It went to 110. Holy cow. But if we looked at that fib, oh, that's not even a gap on the 1 minute. That's crazy. Or the 30 minute. Um, if we looked at the fib, it did test that fib. Now nobody knew that the fibs don't mean anything on a spike like that. So like, let's not pretend that that was we should have known. So bought back here in the process of the overextension, and we clearly retraced quite a bit. So and I'm not sure. After hours is the blue, I guess. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what these colors mean. So that's probably what it is. So I don't want to like try to armchair quarterback this. That's not what it's about. All I'm gonna say is when you have a crazy spike like that, it feels like the stock's only ever gonna go up, right? And we know, obviously we know. Oh, that's weird. I gotta close it. We know that's not the case. That's never the case. It's never going to be the case. And even if it were the case, maybe it still makes sense to just let it go and and wait for a better entry. I've come to that conclusion more and more where I got burned on UNH this way, where back when it was like 300, I had been wheeling it, and then I got back in at a spike to 325, and I'm like, oh shit, here it is. Now that I'm out, it's gonna spike all the way back to 450, right? And that's like, I don't even know, somewhere in the middle of this stupid cup I drew. Um, I think it was way back. It was way back here, and I bought here at like 320. I was like, oh, I got a good price, and it was like, nope, idiot, right? Like UNH showed me. Again, humble the second time. Oh, the bug is on my keyboard. Oh, he's stuck in the keyboard. Ew. Oh, what Copilot? I'm sorry. I'm. Gross. Can I get it by the antenna? I think I just ripped his leg off and now he's stuck in my keyboard. Damn it. If I hit the button, it's going to squish him again. Did I stop recording or anything? No. Or stop shooting? Okay, we're good. I'm sorry. That was excessive. So long story short, I think, and I learned this even with CoreWeave, again, today, that sometimes the best course of action in moments of high emotion, I think, are no action. That's it. So when emotions are high in either direction, just let it go. Just let it go. And if we do that, I think on average, we will have some better success. So, okay, I'm going to catch up on chat now that I killed the bug. Here's what you would have gotten if you let it go, 6,000, and then you probably would have sold another 60 CSPs for 7. So you lost some money to buy it back. Then reset the CC for 20, and then another 5, and then another 21, and then you'll get it. Option A, 13K. If you let it go, you only would have net 13K, but if you bought it back as you did, you would end up with 39K. Huh. Is that because the IV went nuts and you're getting better premiums? But you still would have been able to... Huh. Okay. The underlying is so much more. Yeah. The premiums are higher. Okay. All right. Look, for the record, I know you'll be fine. I think my point still stands, though, that in times of high emotion, it's often better to sit on your hands, as we like to say. Now, maybe the math is going to work out in your favor, which would be cool. I mean, that'd be awesome, right? But it is just you, YTP. Maybe you should invest in YouTube Premium. I don't know, just a suggestion. But so it's like poker, right? You can have a garbage hand, but you can play it well based on the information you have. You can play it poorly, go all in, and get lucky, but it's always important not to be results oriented in your review. Unless you are consistently having good results, obviously, then feel free to be results oriented. But I think the input side is always important of like, okay, realistically, with everything that we know, and especially like maybe this is a bit of an outlier because the IV went nutso with that. Usually you don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that is a common occurrence of a giant spike that IV compensates enough where buying it back makes sense before IV goes nuts. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Maybe that's something we could test. But regardless, I think that, obviously everything to do with trading is mindset related. And that was it. That was my whole spiel I wanted to talk about. Oh, this cup is actually looking like it's happening, by the way. Damn it. That was my takeaway. That's what I wanted to talk about on that. Okay, so good. We got that one out of the way. Let's get back to this. You did it for CoreWeave? Did you buy back CoreWeave? I didn't think you did. Okay, let's look at what else we got. Bull. Bull, there's actually not a whole lot to talk about. I bought this back at a lower profit percent, and that was in an effort to predict a possible cup. Possible cup. And here's the drawing here. And are we actually cupping? Maybe. I don't like this. We got to look at the day. Got to look at the day. Here we go. Potentially. It looks like we kind of are, for sure. And volume was consolidating a bit here. Although volume spiked up, and we basically were red most of the day. But we are starting to climb a little bit. Will this be a valid prediction? I don't know. But also, where's the EMAs here? EMA on this one is 1346. So we're like in it. And we're definitely going to cross over the 100. I think, very shortly. Which could be our reversal signal here. We're deep on the squeeze mom indicator, the MACD stuff. And the only thing is the RSI isn't particularly favorable. So maybe we're missing a couple of indicators that would make this more solid. But anyway, it seemed like there was potential that this was going to go literally parabolic, as a cup is. So I uncovered it. I bought it back at profit, uncovered it, and decided I was just going to wait a couple of days. Maybe the hope was that this was going to be more like this. I don't know. We'll see. We got some time here. I just went too far out, right? So this could be a thing. By the way, this is off. There we go. So bull play right now is kind of just hang out, but my shares are on loan for 10% APR, which isn't huge, but whatever. They're gaining decent interest. So you might as, in my opinion, all 6,000 are on loan right now. Might as well just let them do their thing. That takes us to Adobe, which we already talked about. And this was hilarious because that morning I was like, hey guys, I need a MacBook Air. What did I say? Hey guys, I need a laptop. And you were like, hey dude, you need a MacTop Air. MacTop. How many of these have I had? A MacBook Air. And I was like, okay. Literally everybody said it was the best laptop ever. So I said, I will get a MacBook Air. And I started looking at it on eBay. I got an open box because I'm a cheap ass. And it has a warranty and all that. So should be good. Hopefully. Free 30-day returns. And this trade was funny because everybody on Reddit was just shitting on Adobe. And I'm like, I don't know. I use Adobe all the time. My wife uses Adobe all the time. And it's good. And like, even if you do stuff in AI, then you still need to clean it up in Adobe, don't you? And I know there's other tools out there that you can use, but they really have the ecosystem that I think so many people are hooked into. And when I just saw the reasoning for everyone saying like Adobe's dead, they're like AI. And like, we all know what AI is by now. Like, AI is not going to just destroy Adobe. Professionals are still going to use professional tools that need precision that you don't get with automatically generated images. And even if you did, like, that's a whole explanation thing that I don't think people have gotten figured out and smoothed out enough. I think there's a long way up for Adobe. It was at a low. It had been beaten down for what? I don't even have it on my list because it was such a silly play. It's been beaten down earnings after earnings after earnings for a while here. Pretty strong downtrend, double bottom. Felt like good support at the fib, among other things. And I was like, you know what? We're going to gamble. We're going to roll the dice. And I think I said I'm either getting sushi for dinner or for lunch or peanut butter and jelly. I didn't have either, by the way. I had a salad. So in case you were wondering. And I look at this and I'm like, wow, we're at multi-year lows. But it doesn't feel like a multi-year low business. Look at the color of the earnings. Literally all green. From here in January of 2024 to here, they're all green. And you got to ask yourself, do you feel lucky? You knew I was going to say it, right? And when I started seeing everybody on Reddit shorting it, I'm like, oh my God, there's no way that I cannot, I have to play this. And it was lucky. It was most definitely luck. It was a spike. I think we talked about it already. And I sold into the spike and we made a MacBook Air worth of profit. Like exactly, I think. It 920 and the MacBook before tax. Okay. It was $899. And it was the 512 gigabyte version of hard drive space, which I don't even really need because everything's cloud based anyway. Although honestly, the one thing I was wondering about, should I spring for the extra memory? Like on my home computer, I have like 64 gigs of memory. I refuse to be ever low on memory. Maybe I should have. Yeah, so Showcase, I'm definitely going to get into more NBiz in the future, by the way, catching up on some chat here. The high noon is definitely kicking in. You like Adobe too? All right. Yeah, I agree with you, Showcase. It is a misunderstood capability of AI. Like, when I was walking the dog earlier with my wife, we were talking about this. I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, I made $1,000 on a stupid gamble. And I go, what do you think about AI and graphics? And she goes, but what about vector art? And I go, I don't think you can use AI for vector art. Maybe you can, but just again, not the precision needed for logos and all of this stuff. Maybe one day, but I don't see it. Yeah, it's insane those drops versus how much they've come out ahead. Wanted to play it a month ago, but the CRM's earnings convinced you. I saw that. I saw you say that. You said that in Discord, didn't you? This week. Justin, were you playing? You were the one that came up with this idea. Did you end up coming out okay with this? Because I didn't actually look to see where we ended. Like we ended flat, didn't we? What was earnings? Earnings was this day. We opened higher than we closed, and then we did that again. And it's just been wonky. What'd you have? 350 puts? Oh, buy right. Okay, so you're hedged pretty well. And it was an expensive buy right? Like, wasn't it like 1680 or something? Yeah, it was. Okay, so you're a good day. Anyway, 3% from 360 or 355 or whatever it was when you did that is like $10. So you're good. You're clear. Good stuff, man. And thank you for the MacBook Air, or should I say the Mac Top Pro. What else we got? We got more stuff to talk through still, so let's get through the rest of these. Then we can do story time. LDI. All right, this was a leap play from Dick, which is a name. Okay, this was not this implies something else, but it was Dick's suggestion, and I agreed with his DD. Now, I'm not that good at leaps. I just don't have enough experience with them yet. And Showcase, I almost sold Nvidia today for 20%. I was very close to going like, Nvidia's up 20%. We should take that, right? Like 20% is really good. And instead, I looked at the expiration and it said 489 days until expiration. I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't sell this yet. But I did do it with LDI, which had a lot of time. But my thought process was my profit target was 500%. That's a wild number, right? And if we just take the same approach of, how can I share? How can I show this idea? Paint. Let's do paint. Do I want to do paint? Yeah, I'll do paint. So like on the timeline of life from today to tomorrow. This is not, I have lines. I didn't want to draw it out. And time goes that way. As we all know, it only goes from left to right, obviously. Lowercase t to denote time. What was I talking about? Oh, leaps. So like this time length is a long time. In the case of this option, from here to here, these are unnecessary lines all over the place, by the way, but here we are. Let's go bigger. Let's go like 72. We have start. Or maybe this is day 0. Let's do this. Day 0. And then we'll just do 365. That's the 265. That's okay. We can make that a 3. So the halfway mark, just like anything else, the goal would be to be at 50% profit, right? But we were at 50% target like here. So doesn't it make sense to sell the leap now for what ended up being 285% profit? 285% of a goal of 500% means this should have been 250%. Like, yeah, like this doesn't make sense to me in any other way, but I should have sold it for 285, which by the way, it's been stagnant the last few days. And there's a real risk that, you know, like if this point in time here is FOMC, the Fed meeting, like there's a good chance that something surprises us. I think everybody is assuming it won't. But what if it does? And this 285 goes back to like, I think it'd still be 100 or something. It'd be something ridiculous. Does this math not make sense? I know my chart is stupid looking. Let's ignore that. No selling. Oh, on NVIDIA, yeah. Which one? Wait, which one? Which one are you talking about, Justin? What's a buy right? Oh, okay. Let me answer you, Mr. YouTube Premium. So buy right is real simply you buy the shares and you immediately write a covered call on it. So like he bought shares at 355 and then sold a covered call at 355, right? Something like that. Which essentially is like a way to immediately get the premium. That's what you're going after. LDI. Oh, did you do LDI too? Yeah, this is my my highest return play ever. Well, that's not true. Reddit's higher than that, but Reddit's taken a year. This is my highest percent APR return ever by a mile. So credit to Dick on that because his DD was solid. Okay, enough with the scribbling drawings of hell. So good play. I got out. If the Fed meeting ends up having a like poor result and everything drops, I'll probably resell these. I think that there is an argument for the long term, like the 1 year leap long term, to just do it again. But I have the golden rules. I can't not follow them. Of if you have profit, take the profit. And that I stared at that for days, and finally I was like, I'm an idiot. Why am I not taking almost 300% profit? What is wrong with me? The thing is, like, you could say that, well, my position sizing is very chicken shit, right? Because I'm like, I'm not good at leaps. 2,000 shares 20 contracts sounds like a lot, but they're $2 shares is when I sold these for 65 cents. So like the total play investment was $1,300. Had I done, 10x that, 20,000, that would have been a much bigger play, obviously. And I thought about that, but I was like, that would be wild. Would have been 40K though. So maybe that's a learning on the leaps is my position sizing. And I know Frizil was talking about this. He does like 2%. So I think I'm going to start looking towards 1% for leap plays, but not have so many. I have too many right now, truly. I've got LDI, and then I've got Lunar I just opened, which hit today at 359. NVIDIA, well, one. TTD, which is sad facing right now, and Merck, right? So, like, I don't know. Is that too many? I'm not sure it is, especially if they're 1% plays. Okay, we're going to come up with some rubric as we talk on the go here. If we were to say that any position size max is 10%, well, if I did 10% dedicated to leaps, and each play was max 1% size of that 10%, not as like basis point stuff, but like 1% of the total, then I would have a manageable amount at any given time, and maybe I wouldn't stare at them so much. And the risk is fine, it seems. Like, I don't know. I'm going to have to give that a little bit more thought, but that's where my head's at. Gotta love the small caps. Yeah, that was kind of ridiculous. How did I pick a ridiculous 500% profit target? So in all transparency, that was based off of Dick's DD of $14 price target. And actually, $14 price target would result in a $11 contract, which would be like a 2,000% return. But it wasn't my conviction, right? It was somebody else's. So when you're borrowing someone's conviction, which is a thing, you can have the same profit target, but you're fooling yourself if you do that, in my opinion. And I think at the end of the day, it is my money, right? So I'm responsible for the decisions made on anything I do with it. And because of that, I said, okay, look, he's going for 1,000%, 2,000%, whatever the number is. I'd be pretty happy with 500%. So that 500% was a 1-year timeline, or not quite, a little bit less than that. But at the end of that, I was like thinking, okay, so 500% by, January seems pretty good. Like the APR on 500 by January is still a 2,000% APR. So like, again, it all seemed to make sense to me. But the APR I ended up with was like, I think 4,000% by selling it early. So again, I know I'm rambling again on this, but I'm not entirely sure what I want to do from leaps. But I do think 10% port for leaps, 1% position size max, and maybe that'll be the guideline that I use for myself. Leap guidelines. Okay. TBD. I'm going to keep thinking about this a little bit more. Your target on any option is sell 15%. So, Aggleton, question for you. Are you doing single contracts? Or are you doing like, I don't know, on average, just pick a number. And I know it's not a good thing to do because it's percentage-wise versus share price, all that stuff. But say like you have 10 contracts. Wouldn't it make more sense to instead sell? Well, I guess it doesn't work, right? Because you already sold. I was going to say, so one thing I thought about doing was selling half and then I'd still have net money no matter what happens with the other side of the rest of the trade because I was more than 2x, right? Um, and then let the rest run. That's a common thing that you'll hear. So if I sold half, it would have been 2,500, and that would have doubled, almost doubled my 1,300. So 100% return, and then just let the rest run for, excuse me, for 6 months, as an example. That is a tactic people have, but I'm learning I have really shit patience, like absolutely terrible. And I'm not sure I'll ever be able to do that effectively. So, like Nvidia, to your point, you would have sold it already, probably 2 to 5 monthly. Okay, monthlies, yeah, monthlies are a little bit quicker, of course. Okay, so you do that. All right, that makes sense. So you would sell? Would you sell the Nvidia? I only have one Nvidia contract because it's 3 grand. I'm like, I don't want to have 10 of these. Although Showcase is crying right now, I know because he followed me and only went double. Would you have sold Nvidia where it's at 20% right now? Yes. You know, you're right. Wheeling is perfect. Weekly wheeling is perfect for shit patients, by the way. I don't know. I don't know on Nvidia, dude. Like when I look at 459 days to expiration, I'm like, there's no way. Famous last words. There's no way this doesn't go to 200. What was your minimum Showcase? 489 days left, dude. It's January of 2027. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, you hold that. Okay. The thing is, like, APR screws you on leaps and buy side anyway, in general, right? Because, like, so 20%. When do we sell? When did we bought these a week ago, right? So 459 days left. So 5 days, we'll call it seven. Seven divided by whatever, 465. We're only 1.5% into it, but we have a 20% return times what's 1.5%? How many times does 1.5% go? It's 70, it's 66, right? Whatever. So like it's a 1,300% APR right now, Showcase. Oh, Coin Leaps. Yeah, dude. I thought about Coin Leaps at 300. I never did it. Why do you stick to monthlies, Aggleton? I'm curious. What's your take on monthlies? Is it because they're very targeted plays, or is it a patience thing, or the price? The price is way lower for a contract. Obviously, the shorter the time. There's a lot of things that can go into it. Worth taking the time to play it out. Yes, I don't think anyone is arguing that. I don't have like I just stare at 20%. I'm like, I could have that right now. That could be mine. We can make that real. What are we waiting for? All right. Anyway, targeted playground earnings. Oh, you're gambling. All right, that's why. See, that's I'm not gambling. I'm gambling, but not gambling. Big difference. All right, last few trades because there's actually some important stuff to talk to. ASTS sold puts last week at 41. We dropped to like 36. I was like, whatever. This is fine. Fire room, dog in the fire room. Protected to 39.50, less than $1 out of the money right now. Whatever. We'll sell calls on it in a week. I'm not too worried about ASTS. $900. It was good premium for a double money position. Average down from 48 to now 44. So, okay, that's a little out of the money, but again, ASTS moves, so I'm not too concerned. Google, I didn't get again. Can you believe it? This is our Goliath. What? There's no way we're gonna. What would it have to get to for us to double? Because we bought it at. I know I'm back on it. 35. When it was 160. So it has to get to basically 195 to get 100% ish. That's fully intrinsic. Plus the original extrinsic, meaning we expect IV to basically be the same as when we bought it. So I guess 200 would maybe give us a 100% return. All right, let's look at the NVIDIA chart. We got to just look at the chart. I mean, it seems plausible that we'll be at 200. What is 200? Market cap right now is, oh my God, holy, when did they break 4 trillion? Jeez. So, oh my, that's gross. 200 minus, what are we at? 177? It's 23 divided by 177 is another 13% up. So 4.32 times 1.13. That, okay, so we're saying we need NVIDIA to get to 5 trillion to sell. Is that what you're waiting for? How long are you waiting for? Next earnings? Dude, earnings are so scary for NVIDIA. Okay, this is where we're going to diverge. I'm just going to tell you now. Oh, we just had the dividend. That's part of the issue, too. If we run up to earnings, I'm out. I'm out. I don't have the stomach for it, I don't think. Because just, I mean, lately earnings have been decent, right? Well, that one, not so much, I guess. Flat, whatever. Actually, lately earnings have been kind of underwhelming, haven't they? Now that I'm looking at it and remembering it too. Everybody's like the weight of the world on NVIDIA's shoulders, and then they don't do anything. All right. Let's look at the last couple of plays for this past week. Oh, yeah, this is where I lost a shit ton of money. VXX. So this is where I dropped. It was only 7,000. I thought it was more than that. Yeah, I dropped a bunch on my hedge. So I think a lot of people followed this, which I felt bad about. Like maybe I shouldn't communicate it at all. But it seemed important to share because it's part of what I do on occasion. But there were some learnings that came out of this. So the point of the VXX purchase, let's bring up VXX, was really simple. Two things happened here. One, if you look back in the last year, we've been very much hovering around this line, this 47 line, right? And then we dropped to like 42. And I'm like, oh my God, 1 year lows, I'm in. But what I didn't factor in, and we have trends and stuff, but that doesn't really apply to this. So we're going to just hide, like the fib is completely meaningless. And even arguably these trend lines are meaningless. Although there is sentiment, human sentiment here that of like volatility and all that of some sort. But we're fully inverted, which is interesting. And again, when we were talking about like nothing he says, nothing the administration says right now shakes people. We're seeing that play out. So VIX keeps dropping, which by the way, if you look at VIX over like the 5 year, look at this. What happens? That's all it does is drop forever. Literally, that's from the beginning of time. That's what VIX does. It just drops. Because I guess I don't really know why. It just drops. There's some like technical reasoning that I should probably be able to explain here that I can't. So I think Average Advisor was saying this. It's like 85% of the time VIX goes down. The only time you should be buying VIX or VXX in this case, or UVIX, whatever, they're all the same approximately different tools within them, of course, is because you're worried about a spike ruining your port. And this is the thing. When I keep looking at this number here being all-time high for me, I was fine holding the hedge. Like I knew there was just as much chance as it went down and this number went up, which is the better case scenario, by the way. Or if this all of a sudden dropped out of nowhere and we spiked in VIX and in volatility and fear, it would have taken the sting out. That's what makes it a hedge. And I think a lot of people um, voluntarily followed that play, not really understanding it, or understanding it in theory, but not really having their own conviction behind it. And even my learning from this is, maybe 1% is enough. I think I was closer to 3% at one point. That was probably a bit heavy for a hedge, and that's the thing. Like we're all learning as we go, right? And I've had a lot of success with VXX and SVIX in the past. So like even on those plays net, I'm still probably positive across all of the VIX plays, which doesn't even matter because you don't want to be positive on the VIX plays because if they're a hedge, they're helping you against the worst case scenario. And then that means the worst case scenario happened, and you don't want the worst case scenario happen. You want the best case scenario happen, which is what happened. And so like I'm personally fine with it. Yes, it muted my gains for this past week because I realized the loss this week. But at the same point, I'm like, whatever. I don't know. I don't care that much. It was fine. It worked out like, yeah, it was fine. But I feel bad for the people who were looking at this and like I think a few people went 10% on it or more. I was like, whoa. Yeah, you cannot blindly follow stuff, no matter what. You just cannot blindly follow something unless you're willing. For one, you're willing to pay the result, the tuition, by learning through getting your hand burned by touching the hot stove. So not a whole lot else to talk about on VIX. I'll probably buy VIX again in the future. I'll probably buy SVIX. Actually, I'll probably buy SVIX again in the future first. VIX is harder. SVIX is easy. Easy. In that when you have a spike in SVIX, eventually it's going to go away. Otherwise, the entirety of the economic system in the global economic system is collapsing. So when we were at 50, I bought SVIX here, and then I sold it over here out of just impatience. And, Trump and the administration was like, well, I don't know. There's a lot of risk here. So that worked out really well. I don't think I bought it here. I think I bought it here. And then I sold it down here. Sorry. A little off of my timeline here. I was way zoomed out. I think, SVIX is a better entry into playing VIX so that you have a better understanding of what you're trading. Or follow that chick, Carly B. Me, or whatever her name is, on After Hours. She talks about it every day. She makes a post on VIX. It'll help you understand, like, what's happening. And yeah, that's kind of about it. 50% profit's fine, but how long are you willing to wait for 50% profit? You're bag holding UVIX? So that's okay. As long as you realize that it's just a hedge and you might bag hold it to half the size that it's at, I don't know. Maybe that's not, I don't even want to say it's fine. It's meant to go down over time. So make sure, like, my other learning is if I'm going to buy VXX, it's going to be a more targeted, shorter time frame. It shouldn't be like a leap. It should be like a monthly. In our between you and me, my leap style trading and whatever your monthlies, that's the time frame we need to reset to, or I did. So I held it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I think in the future I would hold it for maybe no more than a week, or if I was going to buy it, I should have bought it like now, closer to the Fed meeting. Because that's this potential surprise. That could throw some volatility in there. I think my timing was way off. Like way off. And that's just what you learn as you go through it. Oh, this is SVIX. So you're going to hold till November 12th. That's 2 months, dude. So the 50% rule applies where we already are ahead of that. I don't know how to think about this differently. It's a problem. It's a real problem. All right, Archer. I tried to sell 850 Ps, didn't get them. I tried again. I'm trying to get next week for $9 piece. I tried last week for 850. Didn't get them last week. Didn't get them this week. Will we get $9 next week? I want to average down. I have 3,000 shares. I'd like to average it down from 11 to 10. That'd be good. So I got 45 cents on the share for these, and we'll take a look at the Archer chart real quick. I'm not sure we're gonna finish out. There might be some cuppage here. I'm just gonna say it. I haven't drawn this one yet. I don't know if it goes all the way up here, but if it does, oh, well, that's not far from earnings either. Oh, that could be a thing, huh? So that's I think AA is hoping it looks more like this. That would be great. I don't know if it will, but we are seeing. I'm going to delete this for now. We are seeing a good EMA beginning reversal. We got RSI reversals going on here, and there's hope for the first time in a while with Archer that's been on this just blah, right? This channel down. There's some hope, and I'm all about it. So we'll see. I don't know. I haven't covered these in a while because I felt like the moment I covered these, I would have covered them out in October at like 11, and then we're gonna end up at 13, and I'm gonna be like, why did I do that again? Because that's what happens. So this is a good example of I am gonna try swing trading a little bit here. If we can get back above the 200 MA at 927, this is what Bob Dog thinks will be a major resistance point, which it will, right? But if we break past that here in the next, say, couple of weeks, we've got a real good shot of breaking back out into the 10-11 range. Maybe it's a long, shallow cup. Is that a thing? Like from here to there? Ooh. Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah, that feels good. That looks like everything fits better. All right, that one we're gonna leave. It is insurance. Insurance is a good way to put it, Justin, on the VIX. 85% of the time stocks go up. It is not directly inverse. We could probably look that up somewhere. I don't know what the answer is to that. It is inverse-ish. So, like, if SPY goes up, it's not. I think it's actually better to look at this on Google, probably. So let's look at VXX, which went down again, I think. And then can we compare it here on SPY? Yeah, let's do SPY. So even on the short term, it doesn't look it already, but it's like, let's go further out. There appears to be some correlation, but not always, right? Like there's definitely times where there's wild drops, but there's definitely we know there's some correlation. Here's a good example of, okay, that's a good view of it, and maybe even the 1 year is best. The 1 year does not look nearly as correlated. The shorter term looks more correlated to me. Right? We're diverging. SPY is going up slowly. VIX is going down slowly. That makes a lot of sense to me. And just a little drop in SPY sends VIX off the charts. Now, it wasn't actually a little drop, right? That was a big 13% is a lot. So there is clearly a correlation there. But it's like way magnified. But I think, VIX tracks more than just like the S&P as an example. So I forget everything that goes into it. Google it. Definitely a correlation, definitely like a high magnification of SPY on average, but not always. Yeah, not always helpful because SPY typically goes up over time. then it is clear that we would just drop over time forever, right? Because what if we look at the max? I mean, that's pretty clear, right? Well, look at the 5 year. Interesting. The spikes get more and more muted because of all the reverse splits on VXX, I think. Measures the market's expectations for volatility. Yes, yes, yes. But I think it has other things it looks at besides like S&P 500. As in like the underlying. But I'm probably talking out of my ass. I've, multiple high noons in. I wouldn't, at this point, I'm not sure I would believe anything that I say. But again, this is not financial advice and all that. All right, that's it. That's all the trades. We hit them all. We hit most of the leaps already. Deck is kind of interesting. We'll see what happens there. Lily, we talked about Lily already. I already have, with Lily, like 10K lined up for next week. So that's kind of cool. Almost 1%, just under 1% without doing anything from today. Feels good. I love wheeling. I don't know why everyone doesn't do this. Probably because you have to care to look and then be willing to do the effort learning it and doing it, and it's scary. Nobody wants to lose money, but god damn, everybody is making money in this Discord. You guys are amazing. I think it feels like on average everyone is up a freaking 100%. Maybe that's excessive, but yeah. I why does not everybody in the world join us? For VIX, it's also increased not just because we're dropping, but that we dropped 5. Yeah. That's true. It magnifies big drops for sure. The learning curve is intense, but I feel like, okay, and that is something we're addressing. I think we're going to do another town hall this month and just talk about some of the cool stuff coming up, which isn't going to like necessarily help showcase you or Justin or people who are doing this stuff already. Hey, Kristen. MC350 had a 40% week. Nice. Love to hear it. That's amazing. Yeah. So I think we're addressing that concern of it's hard to learn. So we're putting together this. I'm not supposed to say it, but because I'm socially lubricated, you'll hear it now. You'll get the scoop. We're going to start doing a 6-week challenge course for learning to sell your first options. Primarily aimed at new members, obviously, but anyone can join these first few, where each week you do one part of option selling. So week 1 will be like, how do you pick a company? What companies do you look at? What makes a company worth trading options on at all? Obviously, there's conviction. There's some, basic, really basic TA. And then week 2 will be basic TA. Things like looking at trends like we've been doing all day today, right? Like, oh, look, number go up, number go down. Look at the trend. Look at the gap. Look at this. Look at that. To give you a feel for should you be selling puts now or cover calls or neither. And then week 3 is going to be picking strikes. Week 4 will be actually selling the option, the mechanics of it, on all the different brokerages that exist out there, of course. And week 5 is going to be, well, on week 4, sell a 2-week option. So week 5, we can say, hey, what's happening? Is it up? Is it down? What's that mean? Test this, test that. And then week 6 is going to be managing the position. Do you let it go to expiration? Or maybe you find that in week 5. Yeah, week 5 is, do you roll it? Do you sell it? Or buy it back? Do you let it expire? Whatever. Week 6 then would be, what exactly do we do now? And that's the wheel, right? Like, well, if you got shares assigned, well, then sell CCs. And if you didn't, well, then sell CSPs again, whatever. There'll be a bonus week that gets into some other cool stuff beyond that. But the idea is to like hold hands a little bit and really, that's why people leave Theta Daddies, if you didn't know. The people who have left, most feedback is they never sold an option. There's some other funny ones, like one person left because they didn't know what was happening, as in they never even joined the Discord. And I'm like, I don't know what to do about that. I'm sorry. Thanks for stopping by the website, I guess. And I've met some people who, friends and stuff, and they're like, yeah, what's Discord? And I explain, they're like, okay, I'll join, and then they literally never show up ever again. But yeah, I think that's the hardest step, is the mechanics of clicking the buttons is scary. I walked a good friend through that today on the phone, and we even talked about, like, okay, make sure it's a cell to open. Yeah, it's a cell to open. And then he went to a different screen and went back to the defaults, and he bought an option on UNH. He's like so proud of himself. And I'm like, dude, I hate to break it to you, but you're gonna have to sell that, and we got to do it again. So then he called me up on Teams and he shared his screen, and we walked through it. But I feel like everyone has the same reaction. The first time they do it, they're like, that was amazing. You learned so much clicking the buttons for the first time. Like, I feel like you learned 50% of options trading in the first transaction. And then it's very asymptotic, right? Like, there's so much to learn, but it just takes more and more time in transactions and chart, all that stuff. But I was proud of him. He did sell a CC on UNH that he wanted to get out of. But it's been good, man. It's been good. All right. Any questions? Anything that you guys want to see before we wrap up today? We are 2 hours deep, so that was a full session, but it was fun as always. I may even have one more high noon. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. What time is it? Maybe I need to, like, get up early tomorrow. Do I? TBD. No questions? Did Saul ever join us today? I don't know. I miss Saul. I hope he's doing well. All right. Well, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. It's been fun. It is late. Let's get some sleep so we can do it all over again tomorrow. Wait, no, Monday. And I hope you all have a good weekend. I know you all had a good week, even Showcase, although it'll show up next week. So it'll be good. When is the 6-week sesh happening? That's going to start on October 1st. So if you're interested, if you haven't already, YouTube Premium, at least join the free part of the Discord and check it out so that you're ready for it when it goes live. But we'll probably go live with that first week of October. And then every month we'll launch a new cohort. So anyone who's joined that month can then join. Yeah, anyone can do it. We'll go through it for everybody who wants the first time, current members and all that. Have a good night, Showcase. Always. And that's all I got. So thanks for joining. I keep saying, I'm repeating myself now. So I'm gonna click the end stream button if I can find it. I clicked off OBS. Oh no. Can I find it?